It is my absolute pleasure to introduce a platinum sponsor for TutorFest 2025. Meet Laura Gowers, a former Senko senior leader and founder of Lysis Dyslexia. With over 23 years of experience in education, Laura now equips tutors with the knowledge and tools to confidently support neurodivergent learners. At Lysis Dyslexia's Holistic Centre, she offers specialist dyslexia assessments, coaching, and CPT training, all designed to help parents and tutors spot the signs of dyslexia early and respond with clarity and care. Tutors are in a powerful position. You see your students up close, often noticing the subtle signs that something isn't quite clicking. That gut feeling? It matters. Laura helps tutors trust their instincts and know when a learner may need further investigation or a formal assessment. Because identifying dyslexia early can change a child's story. If you're a tutor who wants to deepen your understanding, get the right training, or refer a student for assessment, visit thisisdyslexia.co.uk or follow at thisisdyslexia UK on Instagram. Empowered tutors, thriving learners. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Grow Your Tutoring Business. Bit of a shorter one today. I've always trying to improve things that we offer within Tutors Who Thrive, and also trying to do that self-development thing myself. So often I will go quiet for a bit, I'll go away and I'll do a bit of research, or I'll do some training, or be part of a membership for a while that's quite specific. What I've done recently is I've just revisited some old courses that I bought a couple of years ago, or maybe even longer ago than that, that had different elements to them. And one of those elements which I'm really interested in again at the moment is selling, because I feel that it's changed slightly over the last maybe 12 months or so. So anybody who's done my training before, like the 12-week training, or perhaps even come to a Tutors Who Thrive meetup and we've spoken about sales, and you'll hear us talk about sales funnels. And for the best part, it's a really easy way for us to get our head around how we should sell and how we can use this to determine who's at which stage. I mean, if we've got some good software, things like growing our pipeline, where people are on the pipeline. I don't want to get into like all those really horrible business terms, because essentially what we're doing as tuition business owners is selling to parents, we're selling to other humans. And I think like that is the thing that we hold on to the most. So when we're creating content, we are not trying to sell at this stage. We have sales posts, which are really just information about our services, really, like how much it costs, how to get involved, those kind of things. But when we're actually like developing content like this, for example, I want to make sure that I'm talking in a way where I am considering the person on the other side. So for me, I'm considering you as listeners. I'm considering you potentially as somebody who is sitting the other side of the screen and you're here in the room with me in real life. Because if I do that, I'm far more likely to have better conversation. It's going to be more natural. I think part of the problems that we face as business owners is that we sit here on our own and we create these sales posts or emails or adverts on leaflets and those kind of things, and we do it in isolation, or we don't consider like the person on the other side that's about to consume this information, which is quite a critical point. So if you was in the room with me and you were saying that, Rich, I would really love some help with improving how I sell because I find it really icky, or when I start talking about the price, I start going wobbly and I'm like, oh, my voice goes all funny and I don't quite know what to say. I say, well, if someone was opposite you in the room and you was talking about your service and you are feeling like really confident, I mean, we do have to do that work around the confidence about our price. We have to do that work around the confidence in ourselves that we can actually do the thing that we say we're going to do. Like, what would be the most natural way of doing that? Like, what would you be saying, or what questions would you ask? What questions would they ask? Because if we start with those 2 points, essentially that's what we're going to be talking about. So what's the first question someone would ask you in a sales conversation? What would be the first question someone would ask you if they've never heard of you before, but it's been word of mouth and they've picked up the phone or sent you an email? How are you going to respond for the first time? Perhaps it's like, for me, I think mine's kind of split between emails and getting messages on Facebook. or through Messenger, would I, is it good to send a voice note? Can I check out first? Because actually, if I do that, I'm far more likely to get my message across in the right way than maybe being misconstrued through text. So even figuring out those kind of things up front is a good thing to work on. But flipping things around back to like the basics of selling, like what a sales funnel is, and I suppose and what it isn't. So a sales funnel it isn't a kind of this tool which gives us permission just to pump out a load of sales posts. Actually, it's quite the opposite. We have this kind of idea of a sales funnel. Hopefully, you have the idea of a sales funnel as being like this inverted triangle. Sorry, maths teachers, I know there's no such thing, but an upside down triangle, right? So we have like the base at the top and it points towards the floor. And at the top or outside, at the widest part that keeps on going because lines never end, everybody that doesn't know about your service, down to the ones right at the bottom who trust you. Now, trust is the important word here. Trust is what we're trying to build. So again, when we're thinking about our leaflets or we're thinking about how we show up online, how we deliver our, I suppose, sales posts or any content really, it should be about trust. Like what am I saying here that's going to develop trust with the person on the other side of the screen or develop trust with that person who sat across the table from you? A lot of this is about answering objections. Some of it is about answering frequently asked questions. It's about understanding what the possibility of different questions are that will come up. So if you're creating something new, a new service to your business, what would the frequently asked questions be around that? And if you don't know yet, if you have a business up and running right now, show it to somebody who would be your ideal client. So get in your ideal client or current clients just to pick holes in what you're offering. Like what questions do they have about it? Get your families to do it as well. Like maybe if you've got younger children, older children, brothers, sisters, cousins, mums, dads, granddads, grandparents in general, just anybody to have get eyes on it and just pick it apart because often it's the fresh eyes that would come up with the things that you haven't even thought about. And often when we come up with our ideas, we generally know our ideas inside out, but we don't always have the ability to get it out there in a way that makes it really clear. And we explain everything in the way that we think we have to. But ultimately, what we want to do when we're sort of creating these questions is it should then impact the way that we show up. Now, this is important. This is really important because this is how you develop trust. So the messages that leave the business should have the ultimate aim of building trust with our ideal client. Now, I'm not going to go into ideal client now because that's a podcast on its own. It's a whole training on its own. You could probably do a degree in ideal clients if you look enough around the world. So today we're just thinking about trust in a very short space of time. So we're going back to the sales funnel, this inverted triangle. The one thing which I picked up from some old training that I'd taken notes on was reframing it from sales into something different because sales just makes us feel weird, or some of us, not all of us. Some of us really feel comfortable in the sales space. It's a skill that we have. It becomes natural for some. For others, it's tricky because with all due respect to everybody who's listening, most of us have just been teachers. We don't even have experience outside of education that we can pull from. And I think this is one of the strengths that I bring in. At least I have, and it was only a small amount of experience outside of education. It was within public services, it was in retail. But essentially, like even though it was a small amount of experience, I bring that with me and I have that tiny bit of experience to draw from. I still struggled, which is why I invested in training. It's why I invested in masterminds. It's why I've invested in business coaching because I really want to get better at this. I think there is a way of doing it where we can create these connections in a way that makes us all feel good. I don't have to sell in an icky way if I don't want to. If in fact, I generally will refuse to if there's like even like a hint of oh, this feels like a sales tactic. I'm not sure about this. Let's go back to what value we're providing because that's what develops trust. And this is what I'd written down a couple of years ago on I think it was part of my mastermind notes. I was like, look, reframe it into not a sales funnel, but a trust funnel. And something triggered this with me a couple of weeks ago. I was watching a YouTube video. Someone was talking about sales and they used that framing. I was like, "Do you know what? That's not new to me, but I forget this stuff." So that was on, I dug out some old notes, which I've been doing recently anyway. And I was like, look, yeah, here it is. This guy who's a sales expert was saying that we need to make sure that at all stages, every time we put out some content, it's with the ideal client in mind, the user experience in mind, and develop some trust. If we keep doing this, our businesses will naturally grow. And whatever targets you set yourself, you can create more content if you want to grow faster. You can have different styles of content going out, these different ways of reaching people. If you do all of the things, and I'll get onto those things in a minute, you will have more of a chance of success because essentially what we're doing is finding clients. Like, so I know we're having a sales conversation, but essentially we're finding clients. We're making it easy for them to go, right, Mr. C's tutoring run by Richard. Oh my God, this guy did a webinar last week. He answered all of these things, all these questions that I had. I didn't have to ask a question because he just turned up and he was just talking about these things that I was worried about. And he showed me a way that I can like work with him in the future. Yes, I'm signing up my son to that half-term workshop. Yes, I'm signing up my daughter to weekly tuition. Yes, I'm signing up to the mock test, whatever it may be. But it comes from having that strong conversation. And we're talking content really, but those strong pieces of content that make a difference, that make an impact. So a second ago, I was talking about these different ways that you can show up. Now, let's just talk about a couple. And we'll deliver these as questions, right? Are you running a blog? Are you writing a blog anywhere? Are you writing a newsletter? Are you doing any video content? Are you running webinars? Are you doing any kind of in-person event? So there's 5 different options there. Now, it could be that you are amazing at all of these things. Yes, you've got a newsletter running. You've got a blog on your website. You do a little bit of work on YouTube, or you do videos for your social media. Now, all of these things play a part. Now, if you're just doing one of these, it's probably going to be strong enough to create this trust. It's probably going to be strong enough to create clients for you. And always lean into the things that work and do more of it. So if it's the blog that's working, do more of the blog. If it's the webinars that's working, do more of the webinars, and so on and so on. I mean, I make no secret that the content creation machine that I use is usually long form content into short form. So something like this, for example, I can run it through an AI machine. It will clip or take clips out for me that then become short form content that can live somewhere else. We all have the ability to do this. It doesn't have to be video either. If you're writing a blog, you can, well, do it yourself. You don't have to use an AI machine. You can go, right, that bit's an interesting bit from the blog. It's a nice stat, or it's a bit of education, piece of education for parents. Design it on something like Canva or Adobe Express as a Facebook post, Instagram post, put it out there with the link to the blog, and you're creating this kind of funnel from one place into another. You're bringing people into your world. What we're doing is just creating trust, because the more people you can take from, say, wherever it is that you're meeting them, I'm using social media here, but social media into your website or into your space within social media where they can connect with you more, you are going to be developing trust with that person. And if you're creating like the next layer up, which would be, or the layer down, depending if we want to use the inverted triangle or not, but just whatever the next logical step is, they're going to connect with you on a one-to-one. It might be a message. It might be a discovery call. It could be that actually the next logical step would be to attend the webinar or to sign up for your newsletter. They're just making their way through the journey towards hiring you in whatever form you want to take, whether it's you as the tutor, whether it's your tuition company, and then you matchmake with other tutors, whatever it may be. So it's just, for me, I think the most important thing was to take that pressure off the sales and into the trust. And I really liked what the guy was saying in his YouTube video about just flipping it around, reframing it into trust. And then that whatever I'd written down 2 or 3 years ago in my notes, and actually this is not new. It was just a trend that something was happening. And I liked that. I think that has been epitomized in the group that we've grown on Facebook, up to 11,500 members now. That's incredible. Why does that exist in that way? It's because we went for trust. When at the beginning, when I was completely on my own, it was like, well, if I turn up and I deliver some training, if I show up and answer questions, if I show up with that vulnerability within business and share that it's not always like um amazing, like this is my true self, I always trusted that people would connect with that and find trust in me, which has proven to be true up until now. And I want you to have the same in your business as well. Like, actually, if we do take away the sales element, how does it make you feel? If it's just about developing trust, does that make it easier? I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Um, Please let me know. You can message me, you can leave comments. I'd love to hear from you. If you're subscribed to the newsletter, I'm doing more and more newsletters now because it's a really good way to stay connected. I'm finding it much better to be able to share with you what's up and coming as well, like within Tutors Who Thrive, because there's a lot going on and it becomes really busy. So if you're interested in what we're doing within Tutors Who Thrive, whether it's the live events, whether it's the courses, the £20 workshops, all of those things that are there that exist to really help you start and grow and scale your business, the newsletter is the way to go. Right, take care, everybody. I'll speak to you all soon. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.